Hey, I'm Jeff with Couch, and I'm here with Dan Teasdale of Twisted Pixel Games, most currently released the Gunstringer. How you doing, Dan?
Not too bad. Yourself?
I am excellent. Couldn't be happier to be here. So you're the designer for Twisted Pixel on the Gunstringer most recently. What was your role in developing that?
So I was the lead designer on the Gunstringer. So a lot of that is making the game fun, essentially, going through, working out the Kinect motions, working out our plans for level design, trying to get alligators and lumberjacks, having a very touching sex scene. That's all my fault, I'm afraid.
So you're to blame for that. Okay, got it.
Pretty much, yeah. To be fair, I was expecting to be a little more touching, kind of like your Top Gun style, take my breath away, kind of close camera cuts, but...
you could be my wingman anytime. So a Gunstringer ended up being among the highest reviewed Kinect games, that's been released so far. What decisions do you think led to that?
I think a lot of the reason people are finding it fun, especially compared to other Kinect games, is we designed this from the ground up as a Kinect game. And so a lot of our decisions on aiming and movement and things like that are all based around things that Kinect does really well, like analog movements. So your analog moving left and right with your hand, your analog targeting with your hands, and it's something that Kinect is better at than other motion control systems, like the Wii and the Move. They're great single point accurate things, but they're not great for figuring out analog representations of where your hands are. So I think basically we played to the strengths of Kinect, and thankfully it all paid off.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you've worked on games both with controller and with Kinect, and what do you think the differences are? The main differences in designing are?
I think it's a lot of it just comes down to making sure that you're using the best use of the hardware for no matter what you do. I wouldn't want to make a platformer, an Explosion Man style platformer for Kinect, because it's not what it's suited for. Yeah, exactly. So it's been just playing to the strengths of what you've got and sort of designing something that's just fun to do with that hardware. I think a lot of the Kinect stuff, technically you could map, various things to various buttons, but at the end of the day, you're messing with a puppet. And so you kind of want to, have that feel of a puppet in your hand, moving him around and kind of pretend that you're puppeteering.
Yeah, definitely. How did you get your start in the business?
It's kind of a little bit of a long-winded story. When I was 5, I kind of got into games thanks to malaria, actually. I was in Papua New Guinea with my grandparents and got bitten by a mosquito that had malaria and almost died, went through this whole thing. And part of the recovery process for that is this really terrible tasting medicine. And so the whole pitch for me is if you take this medicine to not die, then we'll get you a computer at the end of it. And so as a 5-year-old, that sounded awesome. So I took the pills and I'm alive, which is great. And I got an Amiga 1000 as my first computer and just started playing loads of games and making loads of games in Amiga Basic. And that basically evolved to the point where I left school and started doing an IT degree and realized that I didn't want to make databases for a living. I want to make games and get paid for it. So I made a bunch of mods and applied to a bunch of places, and luckily there was a place in my where I was staying at the time in Brisbane, Australia, called Oran, that hired me for my first job, and so I kind of got in the door that way.
Cool. So I guess we have a message here for anyone that wants to be a game designer: go get malaria.
Yes, yeah. And then you too become a game designer.
Perfect. Now you worked at Harmonics through Rock Band 1, 2, and 3. How does working at a bigger developer like Harmonics compare to a smaller developer like Twisted Pixel?
It's pretty different. Design's pretty different at every job, but I think a lot of it is at Twisted Pixel I can be more hands-on with stuff and actually make games for the majority of my day. Whereas at Harmonics it started like that. When I joined, we were 55, 60 people and just coming off Guitar Hero 1, and so there was still a lot of ownership over stuff. But as we grew to 300 people, and I ended up being the lead on Rock Band 2 and 3, and 80% of my time was in meetings, basically going to a meeting to talk about this, meeting to talk about that, and it was an amazing experience, making AAA crazy budget, huge impact, multi-million stuff, but at the same time I wasn't making games, and so
right.
It kind of came to this thing where we were wrapping up Rock Band 3, and I kind of realized that I wanted to sort of make something cool and do something a little different, and not make music games for the rest of my life. And Twisted Pixel is probably the perfect place to do that.
This has been Game Zombie interview with Dan Teasdale of Twisted Pixel. He's been really great, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. See you later.
I heard there would be sunglasses, no shirts, and nipple tassels.
Yeah, I saved the shirtless stuff for PAX, unfortunately.
Okay,
we'll be there. Yeah. I look forward to those nipple tassels.